crossing county lines just to make my name in the city. I worked for this for all these years and I wouldn't break or back down. I fought through all my fears and all of my frustrations. I see the light is getting clear. I know I'm taking it now. It's my time. I'm taking it now. I'm taking it now.
It's NASCAR Xfinity Series racing from Chicago, the Loop 110. Hello, everyone. Alongside our crew chief, Steve Letarte, Rick Allen with you. Now, normally when we see a road course, you have to have a countryside or you have to have a lot of acreage to be able to put together the left and right turns. But Steve, as we look over our shoulder, this is a beautiful canvas for which to have this Xfinity Series race.
Well, we have acreage, about 300 acres here in Grant Park on the side of Lake Michigan. You mentioned it, out front, the lake, behind us, the skyscrapers. The scene is unreal, it's unprecedented, and I think the drivers feel that energy. It's any other track we go to. It is right here at the foot of the skyscrapers on the beach of the lake. It's exciting, and it's going to be exciting to watch.
And again, on the streets of Chicago, let's show you the course that they run on. So we take a look at today's track map brought to you by Xfinity Mobile. Right down in the Grant Park, you see Columbus Drive takes you into turn 1, then all the way through DeSable Lakeshore Drive, back onto Columbus Drive. But it's Mike Bagley that will call all the action in turns 1 and 6. When we get into turn 4, Dylan Welsh will have the call there. And of course, the mayor, Jeff Burton, will take care of all of the action in turns 10, 11, and 12. And he'll hand it back off to Steve and I, who will be calling all the action on the front stretch right here behind Pit Road. Let's chat with the guys who will call the action from out on the course. And we'll start with you, Mike Bagley.
It's so great to be back in Chicago. So great to be here with these NASCAR Xfinity Series teams. Most importantly, the fans are back. This is a huge event for the city, and they are lining the streets 3, 4, 5, 10 deep at places, and they're all ready to see some good racing. We're expecting tight racing, some racing with some contact, and full-body NASCAR experience race treatment today for all of these fans and you watching at home. That's in turns 1 and 6. Dylan, what about in turn 4 and 5?
Well, Mike, I think it's going to be the culmination of everything you just talked about, the end of one of the longest and fastest parts of this racetrack here on the southern part of Lakeshore Drive before they make the turn onto Roosevelt Road and then ultimately back onto Columbus Drive for another long stretch of straight racetrack. This part of the racetrack, turns 3, 4, and 5, very tight, very narrow, but very high commitment. It's a great opportunity to maybe make a dive bomb type pass on entry to turn 3 or 4. We saw the race winning move in the Cup race here last year, but you want to get off turn 5 well as you can at least, because that sets you up, as we said, for that long stretch of straight track down towards turn number 6. So great piece of racing property over here at this end of the speedway, and can't wait to watch it all unfold later on this afternoon. Jeff Burton, you're in a great spot too at the other end of the speedway in turn number 11.
I'm in a great spot if you like chaos. That's because turn 7 is a very tight corner, a right-hander. Then it goes up into Congress Plaza. That is a left-hander uphill. Then it's downhill. It's very rough in turn 11. Drivers are almost out of control just getting through there. And then that leads to turn 12. Turn 12, a 90-degree right-hander. Not a place you can run side by side, but that won't stop these guys from trying it today. And now to a guy with a little bit of inside information for us all day long, Dave Burns.
Well, let's keep talking Chicago, Jeff Burton, and the Loop 110 is named after the elevated train that runs down in this part of town. Let's look at the starting grid, all 38 starters in today's Loop 110. On the upper left there, you see Shane Van Gisbergen. You'll be riding on board with him all day long. On pole for the second time in 2024. Last time he was on pole, he won the race. Kim.
Dave, as we look at the next page in the starting lineup, Parker Retzlaff qualified his car 12th. The team was floored when I talked to them. With the field as deep as it is, that effort speaks to how much more confident Parker has gotten on these type of courses, and he shined in front of his sponsor, Funkaway. They're based right up the road in Waukegan, Illinois. Marty, that's just 30 miles from the racetrack.
Kim at just 11 points out of the playoffs. Ryan Sieg could use a good day. Sieg told me lately we've been so much more consistent with our finishes, and with 9 races left in the regular season, that needs to continue to be our focus. There is a path for us to the playoffs by continuing that trend. And it is rare that you see a final page of the starting lineup like this one. 34 overall Xfinity Series wins, 4 on road courses. Talk about a stacked back end of the field. They won't be there for long. Going to be fun to watch this entire group make their way to the front of the field. Now let's head back up to the gentlemen who will call the action this afternoon, Rick Allen and Steve Letarte.
Thanks, Marty. And just enjoying these 2x2 lines coming back around this course as we look at the playoff standings. And only 6 drivers up to this point have won to lock themselves into the championship and the playoffs.
And I think today we're going to really focus on that Sammy Smith, Ryan Sieg battle down there. Only 11 points separate them. And so much has been made about the depth of the field, the stacked field that we have. Remember, a win puts your name in yellow, but I don't think it's ever been tougher with the names we have in this field. So therefore, those points I mentioned, only 11 separating the guy in and the guy out. We're going to have points at the end of the stages in a quick 50-lap race.
All right, Steve, a little bit different, obviously, with the race analysis here because we're talking about street racing.
Street racing, I think, only makes it more intense. 15-lap first and second stage, a 20-lap final stage. You can run around 30 laps on fuel, so you only need 1 pit stop. The real question is, if you do pit 30 laps from the finish, will your Goodyear tires have the grip required in the closing laps when we know it's going to be elbows up, pushing and shoving? We've seen it here. Even in the shortened race last year, they were not afraid to lean on each other.
How about Shane Van Gisbergen? He's won the last 2 road courses. Can he make it 3 in a row?
Well, listen, he won the Cup race a year ago, and he's proven that skill, as you mentioned, winning the last 2 road courses. He is without a doubt the favorite, but you've said it a few times over the course of practice today. I really believe Kyle Larson, why he doesn't say it, his actions tell me that he has heard enough about SVG. He's here to get laps, but if he can beat the guy who won here last year in the Cup Series, that'd be a good way to end the day.
Let's listen in to the 2 radio, a little pep talk before the green flies.
Tyler, everybody here with us. Appreciate you guys coming out. Beautiful race in a pretty cool city, so just keep our heads on straight. And I think the game plan we've had so far today has worked out of just keeping ourselves in it. We'll just continue to do that as much as we can today.
And Jesse will start in the 8th position. He's on the outside of row 4. We're going to keep our eye on that as well as far as when they can change lanes. Obviously the start here, making that turn through 12, and then also once they get onto the front stretch, that's when they can start moving left and right. Marty.
Rick chatted with Cole Custer, the winner here in Chicago on the streets last year. I said, what do you think you have for today? He said, honestly, I don't know. He said, practice was so weird to me. He said it was so truncated with all the wrecks on the track that I never felt like I got a clean lap, but I didn't get a really good read on my car. He said, the one thing that worries me as the cars come down pit road to get a read on pit road speed is the start of the race. He said, I feel like if I can get through the first few laps, Kim, we'll be good and we'll have a car that can contend for a 2nd straight win.
Marty, Chandler Smith qualified top 10 for today's race, and crew chief Jeff Mendering told me just getting through practice and qualifying unscathed was more stressful than he thinks the race is going to be this afternoon. He also said Chandler's ability at road and street courses is noticeably improving, and a top 10 would be a good day for them. But Dave, a top 5, they would consider that a win for this team.
Oh, any driver would love that, Kim, including Riley Herbst, who qualified in the 20th position in the 98 car. They're headed to the playoffs on points. They would love to secure that with a win, and here would be just as good as any other place. Riley's car in qualifying, 20th, as I mentioned. He told me I was way too conservative. Well, guess what? His car's in one piece. It's in good shape, and he can go forward from here.
So, Steve, now you have what you had mentioned earlier, maybe 2 of the best that are leading this field. But as an Xfinity Series regular, you want to be up there contesting with them because this backdrop is beautiful. You want to say, I've been able to win at Chicago, win on the streets of Chicago. How do they go about moving up?
Well, I think the real key is, first, don't make a mistake. I mean, practice today was chaos with people making their own mistakes. These aren't cars getting into one another. These are cars trying to navigate this very tough circuit on their own. So as much as you don't want to think it's a game of give and take, only being 50 laps, it really is going to be that. There are going to be times to contest, then there's going to be other times to concede. Now, when those times are, we'll only know with who goes to victory lane and who decides wrong. I look at it like this. It's just, the other issue is with the pack now all condensed. if you have an issue, or you could get into someone else's issue. If you make contact with the wall, you lose control. This place narrows up in a hurry. It can be blocked. We've seen it blocked a couple times already.
Yeah, we have seen it be bumper-to-bumper traffic here, like we've seen in Chicago before, but never at 140 miles an hour is what we're about to see as these cars make their way down into turn 6, getting ready to come back around through the loop there with Congress Plaza.
So you mentioned a little bit, Rick. So the restart area where they'll start this race is actually before turn 12. It's between 11 and 12 down a short straightaway. And it's very interesting because now they start right here coming at us, and they're going to make a right-hand turn. And you have to stay in kind of your respected lane. If you're on the inside, you have to stay on the inside. If you're on the outside, you have to stay on the outside. And that corner is going to really want you to change lanes, but you have to remain that way all the way to this white line right here, which is at the start of pit lane. The reason I point it out is because in a racetrack with everything being new, even this is different.
Yeah.
We don't see this at other tracks, so that's going to be really easy to just forget, and we can see who can kind of stay in their lane to start this race.
It's been a year since NASCAR has been on the streets of Chicago, and you can hear the fans in the background. They're excited for the start of this Xfinity Series race, the Loop 110. Again, Van Gisbergen and Larson make up row number 1. Then it's Connor Mozak and Ty Gibbs in row 2. Up turn 11 and getting ready for the start. Xfinity Series is taking on the streets of Chicago once again. And it will right away be a who will be most aggressive at the end of this front stretch. The green flag is in the air. We're racing in Chicago again. A great start for Van Gisbergen.
Shane Van Gisbergen away immediately. Kyle Larson quickly tucks in right behind him. And here's Ty Gibbs on the move in third, trying to look his way to the inside, but Larson wants the lead. He'll squeeze his way to the inside off turn 2.
Larson wants to go. He's driver's right as they work down Lakeshore Drive for the first time. The battle for the lead. Ty Gibbs laying in wait there in the third spot. Van Gisbergen with some momentum on the outside through 3 and into 4 for the first time. The 97 gives way. Kyle Larson to the lead through 4. SVG looks back inside but can't do it. Larson leads off 5.
Here he comes out of 5. Larson to the lead. Van Gisbergen to second. They're all stacked up behind them. Third on back. Larson and Van Gisbergen making their way for the lead. SVG is going to jam it into 6, and he'll take the lead. Larson's got to check up. Larson will lose the lead. Larson may lose second.
Great battle right there. Kyle Larson is here to beat Shane Van Gisbergen. That is what he is trying to do. You saw it on the first lap. He took the fight to him. SVG said, bring it on, brother. I got it. What a great battle. Gibbs almost taking second spot, but you can see everybody trying to chase down SVG. He has raised the bar, and they're all trying to answer it.
We knew it was going to be a heavyweight battle, and already early on, punches thrown from Van Gisbergen, Larson, and Gibbs, all fighting up front, trying to take the lead away from who is the favorite of this race, with Shane Van Gisbergen out in front, everyone chasing him into 1.
Kyle Larson poked the bear. The bear's gotten the lead back, and the bear is leaving the building right now. Shane Van Gisbergen's lead, 3, 4, 5 car lengths off of turn number 1, now into turn number 2. Ty Gibbs on board right now in third, giving pursuit to the top 2.
I'd have to imagine Larson wanted to try to get the lead just to dictate the pace a little bit. SVG has been so fast, and now Larson has got to push hard just to keep up through 3 and into 4 here in front of the Field Museum. About 5 car lengths the gap. You see it there. SVG, Larson, Ty Gibbs, Connor Mozak, the top 4 through 4, out of 5, and onto Columbus Drive.
They come back onto Columbus Drive, and Shane Van Gisbergen's lead getting larger now as he works his way down into turn number 6. Hard braking left-hand corner. SVG, Kyle Larson, Ty Gibbs. They are 1, 2, 3. As you see everybody hugging the inside of turn 6, very tightly setting up for the downhill run to 7.
Van Gisbergen has led every Xfinity road course race he's ever run. Leading this one again, AJ Allemendinger, his teammate. We're accustomed to seeing him in the front of the pack. He's back here at night trying to work himself around this racetrack to get track position. He is going to push hard. You can see how tight this racetrack is. Different racetrack conditions, concrete, asphalt, it's rough. It's tight everywhere.
We're They're riding along with that Allemendinger Celsius on board, and now it's heating up front again. Here comes the 17 of Larson, contesting for the lead with Van Gisbergen.
It's almost like a game of me and my shadow between SVG and Larson. Larson's going to jam it in again to the inside for the lead. Fender out in front for Kyle Larson. SVG battling back to the inside, side by side for the lead in turn 2.
They'll want to race for the inside. That'll be the right side of the racetrack as they work down Lakeshore Drive. So SVG back in control. The top 2 separated themselves a little bit from Ty Gibbs. Through turn 3, here's Larson out of line again to driver's right into turn 4, race for the lead. SVG's got a heat way. Larson back to the front through 4, and out of 5 brings Ty Gibbs into the mix as well. Top 3, nose to tail.
Ty Gibbs has the best seat for watching this battle right now. He'll fade about a car length or 2 behind this ongoing battle for the lead with Larson and Shane Van Gisbergen. Both drivers, all 3 drivers, hard on the brake, solid entry and exit. Larson leads Van Gisbergen and Gibbs in this 3-car breakaway.
A worldwide heavyweight battle right here. Both of these guys are exceptionally talented. They're going to push each other, try to find each other's limits. Look at SVG. He's trying to find out where is Larson weak. Where can I beat him on brake? And Larson sideways trying to stay in front of him, right against the wall. SVG going to try to get a run on corner exit here. This is so much fun.
And these 2 drivers battling back and forth for the lead. And right now, I'm guessing Ty Gibbs is sitting back there watching, saying, okay, if they're going to race this aggressively, I'll wait for potentially one of them to make a mistake, and then I can pounce.
2 of the best motorsports drivers in the world right now, battling for the lead here in Chicago. Larson will lead for a bit, then Van Gisbergen will lead for a little bit. Right now, this race is in control with Kyle Larson leading the way. That's off turn number 2, the right-hander onto Lakeshore Drive. They're trying to separate themselves from the field and having a hard time doing it.
Deep breath and a regroup here. Everybody will stay single file for the moment. You hear the liftoff there from Shane Van Gisbergen. He'll follow Kyle Larson through turn 4. Nose to tail are those 2. They've separated from Ty Gibbs by 2 or 3 car lengths. Here's SVG out of line. He'll go to the right side of Larson for the lead.
Normally he goes to the inside out of 5. He's going to test the limits and use the outside. Larson trying to protect corner entry in 6, and he'll do that. SVG goes wide. Now we'll cut it on corner exit. Trying to get the run. Larson throws the block. Here comes SVG back to the bottom.
What a great move. He saw Larson was in trouble. Contact right there. Larson giving him no space whatsoever. Ty Gibbs into the battle now. This is incredible racing early. This is lap 4. There's a long way to go in the 50-lap race. These guys are sparing nothing of their race tires, engines, transmissions. They're pushing everything to the limit.
And again, stage 1 is 15 laps, and if it's like this, we're going to be out of breath by the end of this stage. But it is Van Gisbergen chasing after the 17 of Larson. He put his nose to the side of him for a chance at the lead again, and that allowed Ty Gibbs to get closer. It is a 3-car breakaway. Larson out in front. Larson has the lead. The 2 have shared it, 2 each up front. Right now, it's Larson leading in Chicago. Saturday in the park, and it doesn't get any better than this. Beautiful views. We want to thank Shady Rays for today's aerial coverage. And yes, that is Shane Van Gisbergen out in front. How did that happen? We will show you. Coming out of turn 12, it looks like the 17 of Kyle Larson maybe locked the left side tires up, right side tires up a little bit, entering 12.
Yeah, just a little bit too much entry speed, locks it right, front up he slides, and look at SVG. Doesn't try to go to driver's right. He knows that's defendable down in turn 1. He kind of gets momentum to driver's left, gets the preferred line through turn 1. Kyle Larson, though, doesn't concede, chases it in there side by side. These two are putting an absolute show on for the fans, because then Larson goes, I'm going to cross you over, try to work drivers outside in turn 2. Eventually had to give up the position. But what a race between the two. And then right here, you see the respect between Shane Van Gisbergen and Kyle Larson. Kim, how about the 81 of Chandler Smith?
Yeah, disaster for them. Take a listen to the radio before he made it to pit road.
Engine's blowing up. Engine's blowing up. Hello, do I need to come see you or not? Is it just down a cylinder right now? I don't know. It's garbage is what it is. 3 engines 1 weekend.
And you saw that spin by the 38, no caution out. Back to Chandler Smith, though. He said the oil temp had reached over 300. I specifically asked crew chief Jeff Mendering if there was concern after we saw an engine change on the 20, an engine change on the 18. But after practice, he said there was enough concern. He made some phone calls. He said this is the 3rd JGR engine issue we've seen this weekend.
We see some debris on the racetrack. That's on Columbus Drive, so the caution has come out.
Yeah. Rare do we see engine issues in 3 out of the same organization. You can see the frustrations. We see damage on the 26. Sage Karam also, it's been a long day for those guys on the 2016. They had an issue in practice, and now another bit of an issue. We have the 38. That's an odd spot, kind of turn 3. It's defined as a corner, but it's kind of just more of a kink in the straightaway. Now behind him, you see a long lockup on the right front, right there. Sieg's car. And then we showed you Karen with a flat tire.
All right, Steve, strategy-wise, only 8 laps. We're on lap 8 here. A little bit too early as far as fuel is concerned?
It really is. I mean, I think the goal of this entire thing is to only pit once. There are a couple different ways you consume this. You could pit now to just keep more fuel in the car. And if you're in the back half of the field, that seems to make sense. But if we focus on the leaders, they're getting 1 trip down pit road. Now, when that trip comes is going to be the magic question, and I can make a good argument for 2 or 3 different time frames. But right now, the biggest thing is let your brother catch your breath. How's our car? What do I need? Can I help you? It has been quite the start to this race.
We'll see if anybody comes onto pit road here. AJ Allemendinger running in the 8th spot right now. We're on board with him. This will be the opportunity when they come back by right here to enter pit road. And the top 2 are staying out on the racetrack. NASCAR racing in the streets of Chicago. Such a rich history of great sports teams. And NASCAR adding their name to that list. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Credit One Bank, NASCAR American Express card. And by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Some clouds over the city now, and nothing like a year ago when they opened up. And it was one of the worst rains Chicago had ever experienced. Shortened the Xfinity Series race, but we don't have those issues today. It's a beautiful sunny day to be in the park. Van Gisbergen is out in front, and Larson holding on to the second spot. Van Gisbergen has been out there for 5 laps, and Larson has been up front for 3. And this has been a fun show just between those two.
I'm thankful they're both in the race. If it was only one of them, it might be a runaway, but with the two of them, it's a heck of a race.
It's an event because it's not only racing, the Chainsmokers, as well as numerous other acts, Keith Urban being one. The Black Keys, they'll be performing also. And Lauren Elena, so much talent on the stage here in Chicago. Center screen, you see one of the artistic landmarks right here in Grant Park. That is Buckingham Fountain, built in 1927, the Rococo style fountain, dedicated then in 1927, operational between May and October. Obviously it gets very cold here in Chicago, but every 20 minutes there is a water show every hour. And so what a great backdrop we have for the Peacock Pit Box. And Brad Doherty, Dale Jarrett, they were down there for the pre-race show. We'll see them.
Last time I saw Brad
this weekend,
he was on a sprint to the pizza place.
No, they deliver it to him.
So, I don't think that was enough.
They deliver pizza to Brad.
I don't know if that was enough.
We're riding along with the WT.com weather tech on board of Van Gisbergen. Okay, this has already been an amazing battle. We'll see if now that the tires have cooled off a little bit, these guys have caught their breath. How intense will it be? Once again, it'll be a race into turn number 1, and we'll see how hard they get on the brakes. Van Gisbergen again shooting out front. He's got Larson behind him, but Larson will try to outbrake him. Van Gisbergen blocking, goes to the inside, but Larson once again dives it into 1.
Side by side for the lead. Larson grabs the lead and he'll slip out of 1. Van Gisbergen back to the 97, back to the inside, and back to the lead, downhill, into turn 2. It's SVG, Larson, and a side-by-side battle for third.
That's Ty Gibbs to the right in the black number 19, racing the 88 with Connor Mosack. Those two in a race for the third spot. Meanwhile, battle for the lead heats up once again. Larson to the outside into turn number 4, trying to muscle Van Gisbergen to the inside. Again, around the long way, the outside of turn 4 and 5, side by side, still for the lead.
Close quarters racing for the lead. Larson in the 17 inside of Van Gisbergen in the 97. A literal drag race to the entrance of 6. Larson's got the preferred line. He tries to lock it down and block the crossover from SVG out of turn 6.
It is absolutely amazing how much speed they're able to carry the corner entry without locking up the front tires or wheel hopping the rear axle. Both drivers on maximum push right now. Track position is key, they know it. Kyle Larson trying to step up his road course racing, and to do it, this is the guy you got to beat. So far, he's answered the call.
SVG chasing after Larson as they come back up the hill and head into turn 12. That was the first time we've seen him trade a little paint. They're getting a little rougher out there on the racetrack now, but Larson has pulled away to a car length lead over SVG, and that's the furthest.
We had a spin down here in turn 12. Balicki around. They were trying to make a pass over here. Balicki gets it spun around. He's the only car really that stopped. He was in 26th position in a tight battle. I told you this is not a passing zone, but they're still going to try it.
See right here, just loses it. Kind of couldn't tell if there was help from behind, but the 92 goes around. Looked like the 11 of Williams was just behind him. I think the 11 might have helped him around. A little contact in the rear bumper. Nice work by everyone, but you see right there, heavy damage. I couldn't tell. Oh, there it is, Jeremy Clements. I was wondering if it was the 51. I think that's going to be the end of the day. They're going to work on the hood clearance, but cooling is going to be a major issue. So now it's just get back on the racetrack. And back on the racetrack, you see right here, AJ Allemendinger. It's been a quiet practice, but he's up to 6. I think he sees that battle at the front. He wants to get in the middle of it.
AJ Allemendinger, one of the very best road racers our series, the Xfinity Series, has ever seen. Does not like Shane Van Gisbergen outrunning him. He's going to be pushing all that he's got. Good start of the race, getting some track position back. But this battle rages on up front.
Still a car length separating the top 2 with Van Gisbergen.
And everything we talk about all weekend, give, take, concede. These two haven't listened. This is an absolute battle that fans are getting a great show, and I agree with what Jeff said. I think this is part of a mindset for Larson. Attack, attack, attack. Remember, points tomorrow matter, but they don't really today. This is about experience and laps.
Just watching Kyle Larson and Shane Van Gisbergen battle for the lead. Normally when a driver gets the lead, he likes to get out of Dodge and get away, but the problem is either one has not been able to shake each other. Problems for Justin Allgaier as he comes to pit road. Dave?
Mike, the plan was to pit this time. When he tried to get to pit road, the car spun on him. Justin told me earlier today if we have some pace in the 7, starting in the back, in a backup car, we will do some strategy plays. And so that's what they're doing here. He was running 24th before the spin and they come to pit lane.
Oh, trouble, turn 4. Riley Herbst is around off the nose of Sheldon Creed. Nobody else hit him, and Herbst stayed out of the tire barriers, but he spun right in the front of the top 10, and now trying to find a clean place to merge back into traffic.
You mentioned off the nose of Sheldon Creed. Remember Sheldon Creed, John Hunter Nemechek, they started at the back of the field, and already they've made it up into the teens, where Sheldon Creed running in the 13th spot. Riley Herbst was in 11th before he got turned. Let's take another look at what happens.
This is a couple turn. Oh, there you go. So that is exiting turn 2. The 98 kind of runs Creed into the wall. And I don't think Creed loves this at all, because the 98 was absolutely not clear. He needed to leave Creed in the outside lane. And Creed comes down in here and says, if you're going to junk my day, I'm going to junk your day. Sends the 98 into turn 4. Luckily, 98 doesn't get into the tires. And then we heard the 7 coming to pit road. It's a very tough pit road entry. And you see, really, no harm, no foul. The driver coming just doesn't know he's pitting. It's a real hard right-hand corner. You see contact of the nose. I want to say that was the 39. Couldn't quite make out the number. Yeah, yep. 39. There you go. So he gets spun around. A strategy call by the 7. They're outside their pit window, but remember, had an accident, had to find something to do. Pit now and see if you can get lucky with yellows while these two continue to battle up front, Mike.
Here they come out of 5. Again, battle for the lead. Larson had gotten away by about 4 or 5 car lengths. SVG right on his back bumper. Racing down Columbus Drive, heading into turn 6, the left-hander. Larson, SVG, 2-car breakaway. SVG going to go a little wide. Van Gisbergen, the 97, trying to cut to the inside. Could not find the room he needed to make that pass.
Only 2 laps to go before the end of this stage. You do not want to give up track position. You can see they've driven away from third place Ty Gibbs, and he is driven away from Connor Bozak. But this battle is so much fun. Shane is trying to find the opening. Where is this 17 car weak? Where can I take advantage? Right there, you can see he's got great center of the corner speed.
2 car lengths separate the two when they come to turn 12 and back on the front stretch. It'll be one more time around for the top 2, and this battle continues as they throw punch after punch. Final lap of stage 1. It's still Larson out front.
Of course, we mentioned a moment ago, Larson's not racing for points. SVG is. Well, he's got the opportunity to get max stage points and a playoff point, but he's got to get it around Kyle Larson to do it. They exit turn 2. Battle for the lead is on Lakeshore Drive.
And this is where it's all kind of shook out. The last few laps, these two have tried to battle. Larson got a good launch off of turn number 2, smoothly through 3. Van Gisbergen not close enough to challenge, this time into 4. Larson a small bobble, hugs the right side wall. SVG a good run through 4. Sets up nicely for the exit of 5. He'll pull drivers right, race for the lead down Columbus Drive.
Here comes Van Gisbergen again, drivers right to the outside down Columbus Drive. Who's going to lift and who's going to get here first? Larson's got the preferred lane on the inside of the 17. The 97 not lifting. Going to run him hard. Side by side out of 6, headed downhill to 7.
Now SVG has the preferred lane. He's on the right hand. Larson is not going to be able to run side by side through there. It is just too tight. Only one more opportunity for Larson to take this position back. But SVG is going to have to make a mistake to do it. You can see he's driving away just a little bit. Larson too far back to make a move.
And Bagman, a great point you brought up. A playoff point is out there for SVG, who's running full-time in the Xfinity Series. He's already locked himself into the playoffs, but every playoff point he can gain, that puts him that much further into the playoffs when they get underway. Shane Van Gisbergen wins stage 1 in Chicago.
Save.
Already his second stage win this year. First one came at Sonoma. Allgaier made his way up to 6th. Jesse Love, Austin Hill, Sam Mayer, and Parker Kligerman rounding out the top 10 in stage 1. It's almost like fighter jets working their way through the streets of Chicago between Larson and Van Gisbergen. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR is brought to you by Progressive. Save when you bundle motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit progressive.com. Ashley, for the love of home, shop in-store and online. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Today's aerial coverage is brought to you by Shady Rays. What a beautiful view. Looking from above Lake Michigan back to the park. And right there off of turn 4 is the Field Museum of Natural History. It's the home to Sue, who is one of the best preserved T-Rex skeleton that has ever been unearthed. Opened back in 1921. Get a few updates from pit road, and we'll start with you, Marty, in the 21.
At this stage, one caution, Rick. We do expect the leaders to come down pit road, but a few moments before they actually hit pit road, that pit stop cannot come soon enough for Austin Hill. The Chandler Smith engine that let go early in the race let go right in front of Austin Hill, so his windshield is caked with oil. He's also having some braking issues, Kim. He said, I'm going to have to do something different. Our wheel hop is getting so bad here.
Well, Marty, Parker Kligerman has finished top 10 in the last 9 road course starts, the longest active streak that he's trying to keep alive today. Started from the rear after an engine change, made it all the way to the top 10 to earn a stage point during that first stage. Right now, he says the car is good, a little tight in the center and slow corners. Dave, he just needs clean air. He said he got bogged down in traffic.
What an amazing battle we've been watching at the front of the pack. And everything's relative, right? So Shane Van Gisbergen, who's led 9 laps, and Kyle Larson, who's led 7. Yeah, they have complaints about their race cars. Van Gisbergen says he wants a little bit more turn in his car. Larson says, are you kidding me? He's so much faster than I am. And then he just adds a little adjustment to that. So it's been fun to watch. They're pretty equal on laps. And then we'll see how they do on pit road, guys.
Back into the team's hands. And look at Parker here.
Yeah, had to start in the back after an engine change, and this pass matters because that got him up to 10th, which will score him a point at the end of the stage. Now pit road here, right around the corner and also backwards. Driver away from pit wall is just a little unique. We see front 2 stay out. I thought we'd see all the leaders pit. We see a wave of cars behind them. This is a split decision, Marty.
That was an interesting move with Cole Custer literally passing Ty Gibbs on pit road, who came in 3rd in the first car on pit road. We'll have to see if Custer gets a speeding penalty right here. For Custer, he said his car is extremely loose, but he was able to work his way up through the field. Meanwhile, Ty Gibbs had a front row seat for that SVG Kyle Larson battle. He said his car was a little bit too free on exit of the corners. He needs drive off, but he told the guys, keep the adjustment small. Steve, are you surprised those 2 leaders stayed out right here?
I'm very surprised. Now we see a bunch of issues, a slow stop on the 00, a slow stop on the 19, a disaster on the 19. He's going to lose a ton of spots. And this was shocking, Rick. I don't know if the 19 wasn't on his lights, but the 00 feels pretty confident about his speed. A lot to unpack when we return to Chicago.
outside. I think you do that. So many cars making their way onto pit road, and Cole Custer, you see him in the 00 stop because of an incident on pit road, Steve.
So passing, you're allowed to pass leaving pit road, but coming into your pit stall, you have to stay single file. Right here, the 19 going too slow. The 00 goes to his left because the 19 is creeping along, whether he's confused about his lights or whatever the situation is. There's some contact, but it is technically illegal, Jeff, to pass on pit entry.
Yeah, that is a tough call. It is illegal, but if a guy is having an issue, are you supposed to just stack up behind him and not do anything about it? Cole Custer just instinctively said, hey, he's going too fast. Marty, I need to go around him.
And Jeff, that's exactly what Cole Custer said. He said he was literally 10 miles an hour below the speed limit. I thought I could pass to the left. They're telling him that's only if a driver commits to his pit box. That's when you can pass to the left.
Yeah, I mean, the 19 was kind of in the middle lane. I'm with the 00 that I felt he had the right to do this, but NASCAR disagrees, and here we go. The race is on.
Side by side for the lead as they come back to the green flag. It's Larson on the inside coming into turn number 1. Van Gisbergen on the outside. Door to door through 1.
Here's Larson. He'll get the advantage by opening up the inside line up the end of the front straightaway. So Larson away with the lead in the 17. SVG in second. New contender in third. Everybody, A.J. Allemendinger has arrived on the scene in this battle for the lead.
Connor Mosack is there in the 4th spot as well. Battle for 5th behind them. Sammy Smith and a few other cars all racing down Lakeshore Drive into turn 3 and 4. SVG still trailing Kyle Larson with A.J. Allemendinger behind him in the 3rd spot.
Watching that battling further back in the pack. Parker Kligerman on the move. He's trying to grab and root and gouge and trying to get all he can get. They've cleared turn 5. They're on Columbus Drive. Headed to Balboa, where we'll hang a left and head to turn number 6 and 7. Everybody now in double wide formation mid-pack. At least a couple are. You've got Sam Mayer on the move right there in the 1 to the inside of Parker Kligerman. Justin Allgaier in the 7. A big gaggle of cars downhill to 7.
You can see how unique this street course is. Most street courses are slow. They do not have long straights. This racetrack has some extremely fast sections, but then they lead to very narrow and very slow sections. So you've got to try to get track position when you can, and then do this. Try to outbrake the guy into these tight corners. Contact. That's right underneath me.
Suarez got into the side of that 31 and sent Parker Retzlaff almost into the wall. We see the 7 of of Allgaier. Allgaier has made his way back up into the top 10. Remember, he came to pit road on lap 13. We want to see which drivers are on the move. Brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Allgaier has gained 27 spots. Sheldon Creed 23. Suarez 22. Josh Williams and Parker Kligerman also gaining teens in the lap department. 3 wide now on the streets. Sam Mayer in the 1. And Parker Kligerman's going to follow him. Again, that's making their way into turn number 4 now, and right underneath you, Dylan.
They are, and they're racing for the 14th, 15th spot on back here. Parker Kligerman trying to move to the inside of Sheldon Creed as they work off the 5.
This battle has gotten physical here in the last couple of laps as they set up for the entry of 5. It's going to be interesting to see what approach these drivers take. Sheldon Creed in the 18 will be there first. Here's Kligerman in the 48. Sean Hunter-Nemechek and Joey Logano in the 15 car, all getting things sorted out into 7.
Sheldon Creed's car with big damage from that incident earlier, doing a really good job keeping pace. I didn't think he would be able to do that with as much damage as he has, but he is going to be pushing hard. He said before the race, full send effort today, and he's done it. Got all that track position back, got in a wreck, but he is not done fighting.
Battle for the lead. Here comes Van Gisbergen. He goes to what will be the outside as they go into turn number 1. Once again, a drag race down the front stretch into 1.
Fans are getting their money's worth here in Chicago today, watching this battle back and forth between Larson and Van Gisbergen. Here comes the crossover again. Van Gisbergen out of position into 2, but he'll try to cut to the inside in turn 2, but he won't be able to get it done, at least for now.
And here's SVG. He is so good about just putting his car exactly where he needs it to be when it's going to be most efficient for him to make a pass. Looking inside here on driver's right into turn number 4. Nose to tail as they bobble over that pavement transition. They'll stay single file through 5. This is where SVG's been strong, though, down to Columbus.
Kyle Larson's mirrors are filled with Shane Van Gisbergen. Not for long. He'll break ranks, rumble out of the pocket, pull to the outside, driver's right. Larson's got lane preference into 6. He'll cover it. Van Gisbergen, again, cannot complete the crossover in this ongoing battle for the lead.
What a treat we are watching. Two of the best in the world going at it. It doesn't surprise me that they're going at it this hard. What the question is, can they do it the entire race? These guys are great race car drivers, but can you take the fight lap after lap like this? Lap 21 of 50, we're not even halfway yet, and they have been in a battle from lap 1.
You see the names on the list on the left side. AJ Allemendinger, he's the winningest as far as Xfinity Series road course races go at 11. But Larson and Shane Van Gisbergen, 2 towards the bottom of that list. Van Gisbergen's 2 have come this season. He's looking for number 3, but again, nose to tail in 1.
Larson's got the lead covered for now. Van Gisbergen's going to get a look, and he's going to take a peek. Nothing there. Can't find the real estate he needs. He's going to look again. This is the right-hander. Turn 2. Lakeshore Drive now has Larson and Van Gisbergen with AJ Allemendinger racing for the top spot.
Van Gisbergen's got a run here, but Larson able to get through the gears and get the power down just that much better, has enough of a gap that SVG won't be able to challenge through 4, but he's right on the back bumper of Kyle Larson. Through 5, nose to tail again. Will he look outside? Not this time.
And Shane Van Gisbergen in a full court press on that Kyle Larson back bumper. Here they come now, setting up for 6. AJ Allmendinger's faded by about 2 car lengths. So right now it's all Larson, it's all Van Gisbergen. 1 and 2 for the lead as they race across the train tracks downhill to Michigan Avenue.
As much fun as we're having watching it, they're having doing it. This is what you want as a race car driver. You want to be challenged by the very best, and these 2 are it. So the question is, how can I get by him? What do I have to do? I have to find a way to be a little better in certain parts of the racetrack. Those small changes the driver can make, that will determine if he can get by Kyle Larson or not.
Well, as this battle rages on, look on the left-hand side. The leaders have yet to come to pit road, so they're probably 5 laps away. I look at Austin Hill, Allgaier, Love, Mayer, Creed, all those guys that came at lap 17. If they can stretch their fuel tanks, it is going to be a tall task for the leaders to recover on their strategy, Marty.
And Steve, I just checked in with Andy Street, the crew chief for Austin Hill, who sits in 6 right now, and he did say, I could use a caution for a little insurance, but yes, I feel like we can make it to the very end. So when they finally do pit, Steve, with Larson and Van Gisbergen, they're going to be behind all of those cars that pitted at least at lap 17.
Oh, if you think this battle is spectacular now, wait for it's this same battle when they try to pass the 25 cars that stay on the racetrack.
So battling one against the other, they might not be looking at big picture right now. Larson and Van Gisbergen, 1 and 2. a rare occasion to see A.J. Allemendinger make a mistake on a road course.
Yeah, listen. Wheel hop, under braking, just trying to keep up with the 2 leaders, pushing corner entry. The rear tire starts skipping across the asphalt, loses control. Corner entry is A.J. Allmendinger's signature. That is why he is so good at the road courses. This just reassures us how impressive, Jeff, that 17 and 97 are out there leading.
Yeah, it really is, and it shows you the competitive fire of an A.J. Allmendinger. Hey, man, I want to get in this battle, overstepped his bounds a little bit, but that's what you expect of a race car driver, right? Operating on the edge of grip, trying to chase those 2 guys down. I mean, 15 Xfinity road course wins among those top 3, and A.J. Allmendinger wants to be the guy that they're all chasing, just pushed a little bit too hard.
Bad. Your wheel hops all the way into the corner. Killed.
All right, so pits are open now, and this is super interesting, right? I think Larson, SVG, Mozak, they all have to come to pit road, and that's great time, right? They can split the race up kind of in the middle. The question is, guys that pitted around lap 17, how many will come to pit road? How far back will the 17 and the 97 fall in this pit cycle? I think that will really shift kind of the, whether this strategy works or not is what everyone else does as you see the 21 other cars stay left. Dave.
Kyle Larson in the 17 described his car as the rear end is a little bit swingy. And so crew chief Greg Ives said, we'll give you air pressure and track bar adjustment, fairly aggressive to help that. As for Shane Van Gisbergen, he wants that front turn better. Their team is supplied by Trackhouse Racing, and the Hendrick pit crew from Chase Elliott's car pits the 17.
There were a few that came a little further back, but in the end, this caution by Allemendinger brings the leaders onto pit road.
So the 21 cannot hear.
Welcome back to Chicago. Great street race so far, Brett. What a show these guys are putting on up front for these fans.
Oh, man, SVG and Kyle Larson. And A.J. was starting to work his way into that conversation. And but I think I like the fact that we've got to, they come down pit road, it reshuffles the field. Now we get to watch these guys charge up through the field. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, not only racing each other, but they're going to have to race the other competitors getting by that. Who gets back to the front first? Going to be interesting, guys.
Can they make it all the way back to the front? I mean, obviously they have shown that they're the class of the field, but it's going to be difficult. They'll restart probably around 15, 16, 17.
Yeah, I don't think it's a question of can they. The question is will they? Right? I think the answer to can they is yes. I think they're fast enough. The question is, will they be able to work through traffic without an issue? Marty.
Steve, just as things started to work out for Austin Hill, who sits there on the front row, is there an issue now on the 21? Listen in.
Can you hear me now?
Austin, you got a copy on Derek?
Bro was trying to talk all the way down. The long straightaway leads to 6. Just so y'all know, I never heard anything. I heard.
So just as a note, Austin Hill cannot hear his team on the backstretch. He can only hear them here on the front stretch, Rick.
And a lot of people, a lot of people on the radio here. At least 2 spotters, some teams using 3, add the crew chief in. Really important to kind of get those communication and the handoff points. When is it my job or your job to spot the race car?
And Lakeshore Drive, that's the backstretch more or less here, and so that's a long ways away from pit road, but it's also been the hectic area getting into turn number 4. Back up through the gears they go, and onto the front stretch. New leaders. And it's Sammy Smith and Austin Hill The green flag back in the air. Sammy Smith has the advantage into one.
New players at the front of the field. Here's Austin Hill. He's going to open up the inside lane. He'll slide through. He'll grab the lead in the 21. Sammy Smith in the 8 trying to protect second, and he'll do a good job of that as they turn right on the Lakeshore Drive, racing for the lead and spots on back.
Jesse Love in the 2 car moves into the 3rd spot. Justin Allgaier trying to fend off his Junior Motorsports teammate for 4th as they all race down Lakeshore Drive and chase that car, the 21 of Austin Hill. Single file 1 through 5. Here's Sheldon Creed to the inside of Parker Kligerman further back.
Out of turn number 5 onto Columbus Drive. You got Sammy Smith there. You got others stacked up. Sam Mayer in the 1. That's that single file conga line from second on back as Austin Hill starts to open up his lead by a couple of car lengths, and everybody minding their P's and Q's around turn 6 with Logano dive bombing, trying to pick up a spot, headed down to 7.
Yeah, crew chief put me in position by pitting me earlier. I've got to do my job. I cannot give those spots up. You can see Larson working his way. He has separated himself from Shane Van Gisbergen by about 3 cars. That is big. If he can continue to do that, he can get to the front and maybe put SVG in a position where he can never catch him back up.
Larson and SVG restarted 17th and 20th respectively as we ride along with the WeatherTech onboard of Van Gisbergen. And back into turn number 12, but those two are now in 16th and 18th. So everyone's chasing after Austin Hill now here.
And he is trying to get away. Everybody lined up behind them. Further back, here's Larson. Trying to 3-wide move. Going to make it work to the inside. He and Logano lean on each other in 1. Contact off the end of the front straightaway, and they're still side by side. A couple of the drivers that'll race tomorrow doing battle today on Lakeshore Drive right now.
And this is the race for the 10th spot that Larson is trying to move past into as he can get by Logano here as they race down Lakeshore Drive through turn 3. Larson, the unfavorable outside line here at this part of the racetrack. He'll clear Logano, so Larson goes into the 10th spot through turn 4. Logano back to 11th, the exit 5. The 17 is on the move.
Larson wiggling there coming out of turn number 5. Logano trying to capitalize on that. Got a lot of work to do as they race their way down Columbus. Here's Logano back again, taking a peek to the inside of Larson. Larson had the lane covered, and here comes Shane Van Gisbergen around Anthony Alfredo in the 5, trying to make his way to the front with Larson.
Shane with a good job of keeping pace. It looked like Kyle Larson was going to drive away from him. Now there's only 1 car in between them. It's not going to be able to make a pass through this section, but he'll try to outbrake Joey Logano into this right-hander, Kim.
And how about the play by crew chief Adam Wall for Sammy Smith, the only driver not to have made a stop today. He said during that last caution, it doesn't matter what the leaders do, we're sticking to our plan. Looks like it's going to be a points grab for stage 2 for Sammy Smith, who came into this race just 11 points to the good on that playoff grid. Right now, Sammy just struggling with front turn and rear drive.
Getting every point he can. Again, Sammy Smith will have to come to pit road at least once before the end of this race. And we know there'll be a caution at the end of stage 2, which is 3 laps to go here in Chicago. Side by side here is Sam Mayer, was on the outside of Sheldon Creed, and they go into turn 4.
Look at this 4-pack here. 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Sam Mayer going to lose 2 spots in turn 5 as Parker Kligerman comes through as well. He follows Sheldon Creed. Ty Gibbs goes as well. Mayer goes from 5th to 8th.
On board with Ty Gibbs coming out of 5. He's trying to make up some lost ground, trying to get back to the back bumper of Parker Kligerman. That car directly in front of him. Here comes the left-hander. Turn 6. Gibbs cannot shut it down, although we'll gain about a half a car length on corner exit.
See this part of the racetrack that was downhill into turn 7. Watch as they climb this hill, right-hander, a little bit of a elevation change. Stay as far left as possible through this loop. Now all but hit this right side wall. Now all but hit the left side wall. You got to use all this racetrack.
And there's not a lot of it, Jeff, as we ride along with the Toyota onboard of Ty Gibbs. And again, Gibbs running in the 7th spot. Take a look at what happened between Sheldon and Sam here. This is coming into the turn. Yes. Turn 2.
Sam, a little bit of defensive line down low. The 18 gets in the right rear quarter panel. 18's had a lot of action in turn 2 today. Damage now on the right rear quarter panel of the 1. It definitely seems to be slowing it down. His overall pace has gone away. Is now the 48 of Parker Kligerman battling with Ty Gibbs in the 19, side by side down Lakeshore.
Fight for the 6th position, and Gibbs surging ahead now as they go into 4.
Parker from the back of the field. This is a nice drive for him. Ty Gibbs as well. He bobbled there through 4. Kligerman is all over him, tattooing the back bumper. They race for the 5th spot off turn 5.
Oh, Parker Kligerman giving a rat-a-tat-tat to the back bumper of Ty Gibbs coming out of turn number 5. And now he'll flush out driver's right. Side by side off the end of Columbus Drive. Gibbs will protect the spot. Mayer opens the lane. Now it's Kligerman and Mayer wheel to wheel.
The side-by-side battle, and then behind them, you just saw SVG got by. Made the move on Larson, so now he leads that pack trying to get back to the front. On board 97, looking back at Larson. Larson's car does not seem to be as good this run.
SVG's made his way up into the 10th spot now, just in front of Larson. So as we're closing in on the final lap of stage 2, a caution will be coming out at the end of that stage, and there will be a restart. So we'll see if the fresher tires and the guarantee that they've got enough fuel to make it all the way to the end will help out the 17 and the 97 on a different strategy than a lot of the others.
Here they come out of 1 into 2 for the last time in this 2nd stage. Austin Hill away with the lead. Just looking further back in the pack right now. Sam Mayer peeking to the inside of Kligerman. Little wheel lock up from PK. Exiting turn 2.
Everybody orderly all the way through the top 10 as they work down Lakeshore Drive through 3, through 4 and 5. Austin Hill going by right there with a comfortable margin over Sammy Smith, Jesse Love, Justin Allgaier, and Sheldon Creed.
Austin Hill with the biggest lead of the entire afternoon right now as he's trying to distance himself, win this stage, and set up for the rest of the race. Here they come into 6. The left-hander, Austin Hill's lead 5 car lengths over this tight battle behind him that is led by Sammy Smith.
Austin Hill is a good road racer. We have seen him in battles with Shane Van Gisbergen. Those two, not a lot of love lost, so he knows eventually SVG is probably going to get there, and he's going to have to step his game up when he does, but he's doing a really good job trying to get this stage win.
How aggressive will he be to try to hang on, potentially get a win on the streets of Chicago? Austin Hill is out in front, and for the final turn, he'll come back on the front stretch. And Austin Hill in stage number 2, after leading, this will be his 5th lap. He gets the stage win. Sammy Smith, the only car that has not been to pit road yet, finishes 2nd, and Cole Custer, you see him spinning out of turn 12. So after a heavyweight battle in stage 1, stage 2, it seems like, well, it continued, but it was a little further back in the pack. Parker Kligerman roughing up the 19 of Gibbs. In the end, Austin Hill gets the win in stage 2. Join NASCAR's free rewards program. You can earn points to turn into member-only rewards. You can earn every time you check in for a race from home or at the track. Trade points in for free tickets, exclusive gear, autographed merchandise, and one-of-a-kind race day experience. Visit NASCAR.com/fan rewards. And what a reward that has to be on Chicago River here right in the middle of downtown. You're watching NASCAR Xfinity Series racing from Chicago. It's the Loop 110 with one stage to go. And we go to Brad Doherty and DJ. And guys, I tell you what, things are heating up for Cole Custer. It seems like he's had a little bit of an issue after his pit road incident.
Yeah, after winning last year's inaugural race in the Xfinity Series here on the streets of Chicago, it's been an interesting day. A little contact. Racing all the way to the end of the stage here, Brad.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You got the 15 Joey Logano and Cole Custer racing really, really hard, trying to maintain. You're trying to stay ahead of whomever you can, trying to get that track position and keep it. And it looks like Joey, Cole just got into Joey a little bit there. I don't think Joey checked up, but Cole was not happy with Joey. Thought he raced him a little bit unclean there, but it looks to me like Cole just kind of lost it trying to chase Joey, and the tempers are what they are. You got to maintain that track position.
Yeah, and this is going to be interesting to see who's going to come down pit road here. Cole didn't do his tires any favor right there. Is he going to be the one setting up to hit pit road? Steve, what's your thoughts on who may be coming down, and will that be taking away any opportunity they have of winning here?
I do think that spin, to your point, DJ, for Custer, it's a real risk to stay out on those tires. We know Sammy Smith running in second will have to come to pit road. I really believe the other cars inside the top 15 or 18, they're committed to their strategy. They probably were a little outside their fuel window when they pitted, but they're riding around here slow, trying to save as much gas. We saw how much Logano saved last week in the Cup Series under caution. I think you can't quite save that much here, but you can still be efficient.
SVG is going to restart. It'll be 9th because we know Sammy Smith will make his way onto pit road and fill up with fuel. So there's the 8 making his way onto pit road.
Oh, the 7 joins him as well. I thought he was going to try to connect his pit stops, but 7 came to pit road, Dave.
Yeah, Steve, he needed the stage break caution laps plus 5 more, according to crew chief Jim Pullman. And so they just decided to come down, put the 4 fresh tires on it, put fuel in it, and just see what he can grab back from the back of the pack. Kim?
Sammy Smith on a completely different strategy than anybody else, making his first pit stop of the day. He said he struggled at the end of the run, needs front turn and rear drive. No major changes though. It's going to be 4 fresh Goodyear tires. They don't want to come too far off what they have right now, but pit road, a lonely place, Marty. He's going to have to pass a lot of cars.
The regular season Xfinity Series points leader Cole Custer coming down pit road. A few factors playing here for Jonathan Toney and why he brought him down pit road. Number 1, the spin that Brad and DJ just mentioned a moment ago. He said, I want to be on offense, so I want fresh tires to do that. But number 2, they think they might have a power steering issue, Steve. So you're going to see this 4-tire stop finish up, and then they're going to go under the hood of the 00 and see if there's anything they can diagnose here to maybe get that power steering fixed for Cole Custer. And if there's an issue, maybe they can take care of it here on pit road.
Those are the Harbor Suites. They're right along the backstretch there in between Lake Michigan and Lakeshore Drive. We mentioned landmarks in Chicago. Yeah, that's looking down the Willis Tower, one of the tallest buildings in America, the tallest building here in Chicago. But so many skyscrapers and a beautiful landscape here. The skyline, the backdrop for today's race, as well as tomorrow when the Cup Series will take center stage. A day in the park, a Saturday in the park.
Hey, listen, come for the race, stay for the concert, come for the concert, watch a race. You got a lot of options, a lot going on here at Grant Park.
Austin Hill will be up front, and they'll decide which row here shortly.
Yeah, so now it's an interesting situation, right? We're looking at 17 to go, be probably 16 to go when we take the green. And the real question is, can these two right here, you see them, the 97-17 that just go through your camera, they're the class of the field speed-wise. But they were a little more conservative on the strategy. They pitted a little bit later, which means they have more fuel, a little bit fresher tires, but they give up track position. Now, I thought they would be much further back. I was wrong. More cars pitted second time around. So now they are inside the top 10. In 16 laps of racing, I believe they can get back up to the front, but that's assuming we have green flags. That assumes that they haven't run into each other or someone else or someone wrecks in front of them. It's just a risk factor, Marty. When you go back in traffic, it's higher risk than if you're the leader, say the 21 of Austin Hill.
It's been fun to watch these two up front or from the back of the field as they've worked their way into the top 10 now. We talked about the radio issues, Steve, for Austin Hill. NASCAR wanted to clarify, are those cleared up? Listen in.
When you come down the front stretch, I need you to say more. NASCAR's not convinced that you can hear us. Yes, Derek, I can hear you. NASCAR, I can hear them.
That's Austin Hill talking to a spotter, Derek Nealon. So, Steve, here's my question. If NASCAR wasn't convinced that Austin Hill could hear his spotters, could they have pulled them down pit road and made them change a radio or fix that situation and black flag the 21?
So I think by the rule book, they have that right. But it would surprise me. We have seen guys have radio issues. I've had that black flag my own driver. I've been at Watkins Glen with no radio communication. We're going to run out of gas. You ask NASCAR to black flag your driver. So NASCAR erring on the side of caution, making sure that the 21 had radio. Luckily for the 21, he could, and he still gets to keep this track position.
So now on Columbus Drive and turning to Balbo as they head away from Lake Michigan.
We talk a lot about the 97 and the 17. I think let's not forget about that 19 of Ty Gibbs. Remember earlier in the race, he was kind of just, it looked to be patient right behind them. He's now kind of jumped in front of them. So, you know, much like those two who are trying to get position, the 19's thinking if he can get out there, get some clean air to the brakes, kind of keep the car cooler, can he hold them off?
And right beside the 19 is Sheldon Creed. Sheldon Creed has so many second place finishes, but he is looking to get that first win. Well, today's aerial coverage is brought to you by Shady Rays, and we'll have a little extended aerial coverage of the Loop 110. Thanks to Shady Rays as they work their way through East Congress Plaza.
I mentioned cool air to the brakes. The 18 has cool air to the brakes because he has no fender on the right front of that. You want to keep the stuff cool, just knock the fenders off it.
Yes.
All right. A great shot at where they got a restart on that short shoot there on Jackson.
The restart zone coming up as they crest that bridge and head back down to turn 12. Into the restart zone they go, and back into the gas they go. Down the front stretch, Austin Hill, Jesse Love. And a fight for second is building now.
Here they come back into one, side by side. Austin Hill forcing the point there in the 21, the car on the right-hand side, trying to reclaim the lead over Jesse Love, his teammate. But Love will beat him to turn 2. He'll take the lead on Lakeshore Drive.
And Austin Hill in an unfavorable spot there. The outside of 2 leaves the door open for Ty Gibbs, the black and green number 19, as he goes to the right side down Lakeshore Drive and into heavy braking of turn number 4. Jesse Love away with the lead. Gibbs goes to the second spot. Hill back to 3rd. Sheldon Creed 4th, and Sam Mayer 5th as they work off turn 5.
Everybody's staking their way out of 5 onto Columbus, setting up for 6. That yellow and black car at the front, that's Jesse Love. First time he's led all afternoon. Now he's got Ty Gibbs behind him. Close quarters further back. Larson trying to squeeze his way to the inside of Connor Mosack. Can't do it now as they work their way downhill to 7.
trying to get by them because that white car, the 97 of SVG, he has driven away from him. 3 cars in between them now. Kyle Larson knows if he's going to win this race, that's who he's going to have to race, and he's getting away from him. His car is not as good this run.
Big W on the hood of that WeatherTech car of Van Gisbergen, and he's running in the 6th position. Jesse Love's trying to run away from this field as Gibbs is running 2nd now, but Love, he has got a mirror full of the 19 of Gibbs as they go into 1.
Oh, we got a wreck over here. Got a wreck. Turn 12. Josh Malicki is stopped. The 14 car of Castro, big trouble. The hood up.
Yeah, Parker Retzloff has a hood up on the front stretch, and the caution comes out. So another restart. Advantage SVG. He's going to start a little bit closer to the front now.
Yeah, an advantage for all those guys trying to save fuel. Parker Retzloff doing a nice job of driving that thing through the side window. See, it's just a stack up. Yeah, can't tell what caused it, but they all stack up. And that's what Jeff was talking about earlier. It's just so narrow through there that the first time you get guys stacking up, there's no way to get around. Yeah, there you see the damage to the 31. That's what's made the hood come up. Probably broke the hood pin bar out of the front of that car.
Kyle Segan, the 28. That's the black car that's right up against the tire barriers now. He had to check up.
He's doing a nice job nursing that thing back to pit road. Probably looking out the hood vent, if you can imagine. There's that square cut in the hood.
There's a lot of damage to the 26 of Sage Karam. That happened right in turn 11. So much damage to the 14. Andre Castro. And Steve, with 15 to go, does anybody come to pit road?
Not if you want to finish where you're running. I think coming to the pit road now, tires just don't seem to be a huge value. At Sonoma, before they repaved it, or some other tracks, we see where you come get tires, but there's just so much challenge with traffic. While there are some great passing zones here, we saw, you know, Parker Kligerman drive through the field from the back. Same thing with the 18 of Sheldon Creed. I don't think you want to go back there if you don't have to. So the leaders, I think, are all going to stay. But we have only seen the start, I think, of the pushing and the shoving.
Well, when the lap number winds down, the pressure, the intensity ramps up. And it'll be 14 to go when they cross the start-finish line. Jesse Love, Gibbs, Austin Hill, Sheldon Creed, Sam Mayer, as pit road is still closed. But it was the pileup in turn 11 that brought the caution out, and the accordion effect. NASCAR Drive, that's your live race day companion. It follows your favorite driver with their access to their in-car cameras, or you can choose from alternate camera angles to customize your streaming experience. Visit NASCAR.com/drive. You can download the NASCAR mobile app. There's Navy Pier. Look back toward the skyline of Chicago. Talked with DJ earlier, and they were able to experience some of the fireworks this week on this 4th of July weekend. Dave.
Well, Rick, I look around at the festival atmosphere. I think it's appropriate that a teenager leads this race, but it's not just any teenager. Jesse Love has been very impressive this year. Danny Stockman, his crew chief, has him out front. Can he stay there with all the chaos that we think is coming?
Well, you know, again, on Jesse, he's pretty fun to work with. I'm having a great time this year, and you know, I think we have a really good car. I think our strategy's working out. And we just knew that we had to have track position at the end because of the chaos that's fixing to happen. So there's some tough company behind us, but he's doing a heck of a job, and it's just so hard to pass here that if we play our cards right, I think we can get it done today.
You okay on fuel past the scheduled distance?
Yes, sir.
All right, Marty.
Well, I'm not sure where to start with what Austin Hill and Andy Street have had to deal with today. Your driver couldn't see out of the windshield. You've had wheel op issues. You've had radio issues. So to be sitting here in third, I mean, I guess it's not too bad, is it, Andy?
No, we've had a pretty good recovery here from all of our issues. So got a lot of confidence in Austin Hill, and I know SVG and the 17 are coming behind us. So we can handle these caution laps. A few more caution laps here, I'll be happy.
There you go. So the point at this point is just to survive for the 21 car, especially with that battle that should be coming, Rick.
And right now, Austin Hill running in the third spot as we continue to enjoy the scenery here in the city of Chicago, the third largest city in the United States. And fans are getting a great show today with the Xfinity Series. Just a little south of us is Soldier Field. That venue opened in 1924. It's the smallest and oldest active stadium in the NFL. And I mentioned earlier in the 50s, NASCAR had a premier division race right there inside of Soldier Field that Fireball Roberts ended up winning. Dave, SVG. So he's got 5 in front of him. Is he going to be able to get to the front?
He's come on like a fireball to the NASCAR Series himself, and today I believe he still has a car that can do it. Just checked in with his crew chief, Bruce Schlicker, and he says it's fine. It'll be fine at the end of this race. We're just waiting to watch and see what Shane can do, and that's what we've all been doing. After he won here last year in the Cup Series, it was a Truck Series race at Indianapolis Raceway Park that spurred on the movement to get Shane over here full time. He was supposed to go Supercars racing again this year, but they moved forward and forward and forward, and late in the year they signed an agreement with Trackhouse Racing, and it included a full season in Xfinity with this group, Colleague Racing, to get him to the next level. Obviously, he's been racing in the Cup Series as well, but the goal now is to be in America, winning in NASCAR. He is doing it, and what a change, Rick, just a year after he stunned the world here in Chicago.
Yeah, you see he's 35 years old, out of New Zealand, and you kind of give a perspective. Okay, this is his first full-time year, and you look at a guy like Justin Allgaier, who is 38 years old, and he's really made a career out of the Xfinity Series, racing here for over a decade.
Yeah, and SVG, you know, when he gets in really anything, whether it's, you know, over in Europe, maybe at the Bathurst, you know, over in Australia, or whether it's Daytona at the Rolex, you know, any sort of sports car, his pace is unbelievable. What I really appreciate is he could have just cherry-picked and run road courses and been in contention to win probably every one of them. But to commit to a full schedule and to go to these ovals where he races against much younger race car drivers with less starts and laps in their career, but all of it on ovals, Shane is at a disadvantage. And I think it says a lot about a driver who has enough humility to kind of start over in a style of racing. And that's what it is for Shane when he goes to the ovals. We talk a lot about him here, but when we go to, you know, Pocono or some of these other races, and he'll self-admittedly is a little bit wide-eyed. Like, it's just between the aerodynamics and how these guys race. But it's a lot of fun when he comes to a place like this, watching his car control and just raw speed.
Let's check back in on the Peacock pit box with DJ and Brad. Brad, put the pizza down.
I did. Down in my belly. DJ, what do you think? So we're talking about Van Gisbergen. Can he get back to the front? But I'm also looking at the front. You got Sheldon Creed, you got Gibbs, you got Love, you got Mayer, you got these guys that want to win this race so badly.
Yep.
Can they hold him off?
I hope they're paying attention. They're getting ready to get a lesson and how you do this. He's one of the best that we've seen, especially at this street racing. And the only way that he doesn't win is if the caution somehow comes out, stays out too long to where he doesn't have time to make this. But he's going to, I believe, make pretty short work of this and get himself back in the very front. He just has skills that everybody else and normal race drivers don't have.
Okay. Rick, hey, DJ, pass the pizza. Back to you, Rick.
Pass the pizza up here. So once again, we'll give you a vantage point as to where everyone is around this street course. Again, in turns 1 and 6 is Mike Bagley. He's been calling the action there as they turn left onto 1 and left onto 6. And then once they go through 2, that right-hander that puts them on Lakeshore Drive, and 3, they'll head right down to Dylan Welch. And Dylan has been able to watch a lot of the action taking place in front of him. Jeff Burton over in turn 11 by the Art Institute there of Chicago. And Steve and I have been comfortably here on the front stretch as we watch them go down and race all the way into that turn 1. And Bagley, what do you think about this battle we've seen today?
Well, first of all, I want to slice to that piece that Brad's having over here. Let's get some over to turn 6. Racing-wise, I think it's going to be a great battle to the end. Chaos is getting ready to break loose, and you're not going to want to miss this. Dylan.
And Mike, over here in turn 4, I think we've had our eyes open to the fact you can run too wide through here. I would have never expected that to be the case, but Kyle Larson, Shane Van Gisbergen have proven it today. They can get back to the front, Jeff. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch them.
Yeah, it is going to be fun. They got to go through a lot of good race car drivers, though. We've seen aggressive racing all day long. Well, now just over 10 laps to go, it's going to get even more aggressive. Somebody's getting ready to get a check.
I only challenge Dylan's statement that says, you know, you can run too wide through turn 4. I would say some can run too wide through 4. I'm not sure the whole field can.
We're seeing him 2x2 again. That means a restart coming, Marty.
Rick, so how did Austin Hill go from 1st to 3rd on the last restart? This radio might explain it.
For the 2, apologize for getting into you there on that start. Sound like the 19 had pounded him. Yeah, no, it wasn't that. I don't know if the 19 was pushing him when we got in the restart zone, but the whole right lane just jumped the start on me, and I'm the control car, you know what I mean? That's what I'm frustrated about.
So he was mad at his teammate Jesse Love for jumping the start there, the restart in his opinion, because he was a control car. But Rick, I don't think that's the last time we're going to see contact on a restart today.
Yeah, and again, reminding you, Jesse Love and Austin Hill, they're teammates. So running for the same organization, Richard Childress Racing. It's Ty Gibbs, though, in the 19 who'll be on the outside of Love as they get ready for the restart here, coming into turn 12. Into the restart zone now, and back into the gas on the brakes, but then back into the gas again on the front stretch. Love with the advantage, but here comes that 19. Ty Gibbs To the back bumper, can he outbrake him? No, Jesse Love's going to have the advantage in one.
Oh, but Gibbs is all over him, coming into the corner. Hard on the brakes, though. Love is away with the lead. Here's Jesse Love trying to pull away from a side-by-side battle. Ty Gibbs in the 19, going to squeeze down to the inside, make that Austin Hill, squeezing inside of Gibbs to take second.
The Joe Gibbs Racing car spun around in the back of the field at the exit of turn number 2 as the back group tries to weave their way through there. Looks like we'll stay green. Got Preston Pardis stopped as well on the bottom of your screen. Leaders through 4 and 5. It's RCR up front with the 2 and 21, Jesse Love and Austin Hill, and then Ty Gibbs and Sheldon Creed, 3rd and 4th.
We're going to try it again. Preston Pardis, that's the 50, parked there in turn 12, not able to get going. And so because of that, they'll have to get assistance to him. Hey, what's going on down there, Jeff?
Yeah, Rick, he came out of the loop and just with no power, and he put it in neutral. He did everything he could, but the car is just not running. Something's happened mechanically. It's nothing he could do.
So we did see in turn 2, this is entering turn 2, this little melee here, it got into the 9 of Brandon Jones.
Oh yeah, that was just a big dive bomb. It looked like that was AJ Allemendinger that was 3 wide on the bottom, made contact with a whole bunch of cars, ended up being the worst for the 9 of Brandon Jones, being on the outside. I don't think he had really anything to do with it other than receiving the contact from the inside. Number 16 just trying to make positions up, but pretty aggressive move for sure in 90-degree corner turn 2. You know, the other thing worth pointing out is, you know, at the front of the field, you know, Van Gisbergen, I think, was going to pass Mayer and almost had a run for a couple more spots, right? So every time the yellow comes out, it makes a difference.
Fewer laps. If he wants to get to the front, it ain't going to happen. But AJ Allemendinger aggressively through 2 and knocks the 9 around. And take a look at that shot. Going right there under the bridge in the Chicago River. What a beautiful shot. Tomorrow on NBC at Peacock, it's NTT IndyCar Series racing from Mid-Ohio. Countdown to green at 4 o'clock, 4:30. Cup Series back in action here in the streets of Chicago. And remember, we'll be embedded with Tyler Reddick. That means that we will have a pit reporter that will be right on the pit box with that team. So we'll be able to hear from the crew chief. We'll be hearing from the spotters, everybody involved. It should be great. Double duty drivers, there are 9 of them that will be competing not only today but also tomorrow. Daniel Suarez, want a big thanks to a Chicago company here, Vanderhagen, giving us this view from Daniel Suarez, who will be on track again tomorrow. Suarez very good on road courses, so we expect a lot out of him tomorrow in the Cup race. Dave, what about the 7 of Allgaier?
Illinois, born and raised, Justin Allgaier had a bad practice earlier today. The car they used then was red. They're using the backup now, which is black. This is what happened. Justin said, that's totally on me. This was my mistake. Then it was compounded when the car number 45 of Allemendinger came by and did that. That sent them to the backup car, and so they started at the rear of the field today. They had a strategy going where they could have made their way to the front, but they failed on that. Remember, they came to pit road all by themselves. Spotter Eddie DeHunt had this question for the pit box.
They're pit on 17. They're going to go all the way. Well, and that's why I flipped the stage. I thought we would, I could have left them out there and hoped for all these cautions, but man, you're just on defense with a backup car, and I just didn't feel confident about it, so I just figured we'd put them back on offense here.
So, Steve, Justin is one of the 3 drivers right now in contention for the regular season championship. Pullman deciding on having a good point state, which they had already had when they pitted and put him back to the rear there in their backup car. So sometimes you just got to take what you got.
Yeah, and you know, he said he didn't want to be sitting out there on defense in a backup car. Look, it's already been a tough day. He knows his driver very well. Put him on offense. He's sitting 22nd. But with 9 to go, you know, he could easily gain positions on these next few restarts. So you got to manage the team, and I agree with that point situation. You know, he had a decent run in the stages, and he's just trying to find a way, you know, to get this race behind them.
Steve, premonition there when you said these next few restarts? Do you know that there's going to be more than 1 restart?
Well, I have seen nothing yet to think we're going to just drop the green and drive 9 laps to the finish, but it could happen.
2 by 2 once again as we ride along with the Toyota on board and the WeatherTech on board. So, Bagman, how about the fans around you?
Oh, Rick, we've got them about 8 deep over here at the corner of turn 6. They're coming, they're going. They've been over, listening to house music and the entertainment behind them. Now they're all huddled up all the way down Columbus Drive, and they've also huddled up at the intersection here at turns 1 and 6. They are getting their money's worth, Rick. They're having a blast here.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it has to be so amazing to see cars on Columbus Drive going 140 miles an hour. I mean, I've had some taxi cabs that have gone pretty fast trying to make a good fare, but nothing like what people are seeing here. As we get ready for the restart again, it will be 9 to go, actually 8 after they get the green flag for the restart. So 8 laps of racing. Is that enough for SVG, who's going to restart 5th? That front row is Austin Hill and Jesse Love. Teammates making up row 1. Back up through the gears they go, and onto the front stretch. Love sliding through 12. He makes the move over to block on the 21, but it's the 2 into 1 first.
Mad scramble for second on back. Sheldon Creed in the 18 wanted to stack it 3 wide. He had to back away and let the side-by-side battle between Gibbs in the 19 and Hill in the 21 take place. Here comes Gibbs, that is. He'll root his way to the inside of Hill.
Austin Hill backsliding here in a challenge for that 3rd spot with Sheldon Creed to his inside as they work through turn 3 and come down into turn number 4. Jesse Love defending inside. Ty Gibbs is closed on him as Creed moves around Austin Hill in 3rd. Top 2 nose to tail off 5.
Ty Gibbs is on a mission right now. He's trying to get the lead away from Jesse Love, couple of the newest, youngest drivers in all of NASCAR. Here is Gibbs. You're riding on board with him. He'll look to the inside. Fade, driver's right, cut back to the left, contact further back. Austin Hill has dropped anchor. That car's not as good as it was earlier. He's just trying to hang on to protect what he has.
Things are getting even more aggressive, not only in the front, but toward the middle of the pack. You can see doors banging, guys running into each other. It's pay window time. Ty Gibbs, tons of pressure on the 19-year-old of Jesse Love. Ty Gibbs, a good road racer. Jesse's got his hands full. Big move right here.
SVG moves to the inside. He's trying to take third away from Sheldon Creed. He's going to do it before they get to turn 12.
And that's what makes the difference. He can pass in non-traditional passing zones. That has allowed him to climb all the way back up into the top 3.
Shane Van Gisbergen across the start-finish line, making his way down to the left-hander. That is turn 1. Shane Van Gisbergen is now back to position number 3. He is trying to catch those 2 cars in front of him in Jesse Love and Ty Gibbs. And Dylan, those 2 do not know what they have in store for him now that SVG's been turned loose.
Well, and this must ramp up the intensity for Ty Gibbs because he probably knows that 97 is into the 3rd spot. How aggressive does Ty get? He's looking inside. Love defends to the right side through turn 4. Ty can't do anything with him this time, but look at Shane Van Gisbergen. He has closed this gap, and it's a 3-car race up front.
It is Love, it's Gibbs, it's Van Gisbergen. This is the 3-car breakaway for the lead. Less than 7 laps to go. Gibbs is going to send it in on the high side. Can he cut over and open up the inside? No. Jesse Love back to the hammer quicker and able to protect the lead.
Ty Gibbs blocking right there. Wanting to show Jesse Love the inside and also prevent the 97 of Van Gisbergen from getting alongside him. A little bit of an offensive move and defense at the same time. This is where SVG made this move the last lap. Let's see if he can do it again. We're trying to get to the right side. Outbreak. Gibbs blocks. Sam Mayer to the back of SVG.
And we take a look at the Toyota driver update right now. Gibbs running in that 2nd spot, but he has a mirror full of the 97, and there's contact made. Sam Mayer gets into the back of him. They slide. He's blocking traffic now. SVG has lost 4, 5, 6 car lengths on the top 2.
Give and take has turned into grab and go. Here's Gisbergen. He's up to 3rd, and they are rooting and gouging behind him. That's Sam Mayer in the 1, Sheldon Creed in the 18. Here's Creed. He'll take a look again. Mayer will beat him to the punch, and Kyle Larson is back in the mix.
This is a race for about 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. All those cars right there. Kligerman runs in the 6th spot. Creed is 5th. We go yellow here, and we're going to have another restart. Leland Honeyman buried into the turn 1 tires.
Windshield deep right there below you, Bagman.
He's got a lot of work to do to get out of that tire barrier. He has wedged his way in. And I believe that Rick, the only way he is going to be able to get out is with a record. He's going to need much assistance to get out from these tire barriers.
They shut off the car. He's going to need a wrecker to pull him out. Under 6 laps to go. Wonder if they'll red flag it now, because it's going to take a little while for him to get out from underneath the tire barrier.
Well, let's take a look. Looks like right front locked up, turn, flat. Right front tire is flat. 42 along for the ride on the flat tire. Tire barrier doing its job, softening the blow. I'm sure it was still quite a hit, but much better than the concrete barrier behind it. Let's take a look at this 97, though. You called it, Rick. Everybody's being a little bit defense, a little bit offense. Well, the 97 gets a little of a bad angle, slides. The 1 actually does a nice job of not spinning him out because he had him crossed up. That could have been the end of the day. Creed stays in the gas, kind of ping-pongs his way up there. Let's go on board, listen. Maybe he hit the inside wall. I actually think he made contact with the inside wall with the right side of the car. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, hits the inside wall, which pushes him up. You add steering wheel, the car gets loose. Sam Mayer does a nice job not junking the 97, but now watch the 18. You can't give up momentum, so he goes left. The 1 tries to defend. I'll give Sheldon Creed credit. He just kind of stayed with the momentum. That's what you have to do on this circuit.
Riding along again with SVG.
That quick. And I think the 2 leaders were disappointed the yellow came out because you had mentioned it, why he didn't lose a position. 5 or 6 car lengths gave that 19 some breathing room. But I will say, Ty Gibbs, who I don't normally label as a patient driver, is being very patient with Jesse Love, because Love is running a lot of the middle of the straightaways, shallow corner entries. Now, he has every right to do that as a leader. There's nothing that says where he has to drive his race car. But if you look at racing etiquette, he is definitely a much more defensive line. And yet Ty Gibbs, I've seen no real contact with the rear bumper of the two. He's being very patient, which is hard when you have SVG barreling down on you.
Ty Gibbs, so much success in the Xfinity Series. He is a champion. He's won 12 races in this series. 4 of them have come on road courses. Dave?
Well, I can't say to crew chief Bruce Schlicker where did he come from because we knew he was coming. But that last run there was great. A little wall contact. What does Shane have?
I think he's got enough there. We just need this thing to stay green. So
I can't guarantee that.
So, we'll re-rack him here. I think he's got enough for those 2 guys in front of him. I know we're good on fuel for a few more laps than they are if we do get some overtime, so feeling pretty good about it right now.
You can't tell him how to drive it because he does that pretty darn well. What's been your role today, Bruce, just trying to keep him in the game?
I mean, just kind of keeping his head where it needs to be. You know, we talked about that one stop. We made some adjustments. He gave me a direction to go. It was the right direction, so I just kind of let him do his deal here.
Yep, Steve, even when you have a superstar, right, you got to have the team effort.
That's absolutely right, Dave. You kind of have to understand, you know, your role is to put a car out there that allows SVG to display his talents. That's how I always looked at it, whether it was Jeff Gordon or Dale Jr. You know, we won as a team, we lost as a team, but the fans come to watch that driver perform. So don't do something to take him out of the race. I kind of like what he said there. I hadn't really given fuel a lot of thought because we've had so many yellows, but pitting a little bit later has once again not taken his driver out of the race fuel-wise. I was concerned about traffic, but SVG has made short work of it. They just need those green flag laps. Those are going to be tough. What he does such a nice job of is when he makes a pass, he doesn't lose momentum. And what I mean is sometimes you get side by side, you complete the pass, but it takes a half a lap to kind of get back on the offensive. SVG can complete a pass and the next corner be on the offensive again. And that's what these fans are lined up on the fence to see.
And Kim, we have seen Sheldon Creed really outperform what we thought his talents were on road courses, but running in the top 5 right now.
Yeah, and he knew he had a fast car when he practiced earlier today, but the engine quit, so they had to change it. Started from the rear. What a day for him. He told us he was going to send it. He did exactly that. Got up to the 13th position before the first caution and has strategically worked his way up. He now sits top 5 with striking distance to the leaders. We'll see if Creed has more than what we are seeing right now in the 5th position. Maybe, Dave, another runner-up finish for Creed. We'll see.
Kim, oh my goodness, 8th for Connor Mosak right now in the blue 88. The 25-year-old from Charlotte ran 23 races in the Xfinity Series last year. Did not run that many this year. Ran some ARCA and some Trans Am. Really wished he had had more Xfinity Series races. So to prepare for this, yep, sim time like everybody else. And then he's got 2 coaches that work with him, Josh Wise and Scott Speed. Guys, I'm thinking if your coaches, your advisors are Wise and Speed, you're improving your chances on a street course like Chicago.
It's a good name game there. Wise and Speed. Let's listen into Jesse Love's radio.
I mean, the biggest thing is the 2 guys behind us, actually the 4 guys behind us will use us up. So good restart, have a good gap, we'll be fine. You guys are doing amazing.
Likely to happen. Just hopefully we catch it and we'll be just fine.
That was Danny Stockman Jr. that started off that conversation, and he knows how to win championships, knows how to win races, has won championships at different levels of NASCAR, and has young Jesse Love right now in front of this field with under 5 laps to go. It'll be 4 to go when they cross the start-finish line. All right, so let's go back to DJ and Brad. Guys, have we learned anything today that we can transfer to tomorrow for the Cup race?
You know, I think there's probably a lot of the Cup drivers that, Brad, are sitting watching this, and in particular, SVG, as to how he goes about making these passes, and is that something they can incorporate into their arsenal tomorrow as they try to make passes, move their way to the front, because we know how competitive that field is.
Yeah, he's shown a lot today and a lot of skill and technique, but the thing I've been really impressed with, you know, this is not the quintessential road race for our guys, and racing on these streets is difficult. They've done a great job of keeping these race cars clean. I thought we would destroy some race cars today. That hasn't happened, so it shows the level of skill, where we're at as racers in the Xfinity Series, and I think they'll push forward to tomorrow as well.
Yeah, and Rick, if we've seen anything that we want to look forward to tomorrow, that passing is difficult, it can be done, but a lot of pushing and shoving, and I think we'll see a lot of that here in the last couple of laps today and tomorrow.
We'll see just how aggressive people want to be at the end of this one. I mean, as we mentioned, there's a check at the end of this. There's a trophy. There's pride. You know, winning at Chicago is a big deal.
How about AJ Allemendinger right here, all the way back to 11th after a heavy impact with the turn 6 wall. I thought Babesco was going to end his day, but he pitted and he's come out, some aggressive passes, but he's worked his way back up. He has a chance to get inside the top 10. Just in front of him, that 15 of Joey Logano. This is the car that Haley Deegan has driven full time. Joey got behind the wheel this week, get some extra laps.
So many things that goes into building this street course. Think about this. Each one of those sections of wall, the barriers, weighs 10,000 pounds, and there's 2,000 of those that go on either side of this course. So there's 4.4 miles of those barriers. They built those new harbor suites, the 23 of those that go down Lakeshore Drive. 150 plus structures that are built just for this event. And then you see the hundreds of tire packs that are around the course, and those have been well, they've been used pretty extensively today.
And I love that bottom note, right? All 50 states and 23 countries. This suite complex on the front stretch, you and I started our day up on the top floor on camera with the, you know, the city in the background, and I'm going to tell you, not only did it look good, but it was pretty electric up there. These guys were having a good time. You see everybody getting their phone out. They know something's going to happen. They want to video it. They want to document it.
We do want to thank Marmon Holdings. That was the suite we were in. They were very generous to allow us to be up there.
It was a hard press to come down. I was like, man, they had one of the best seats.
Yeah, a great vantage point. They see him coming out of turn 12 and all the way along the front stretch.
You know, we've talked a lot about who could win the thing, but let's see what this could do to upset. I mean, you have the 48, Parker Kligerman right back there, right? If he could win, what that would do to put him locked in the playoffs. If he feels good about points, but that'd be such a big win. You got the 18, as you mentioned, with so many seconds still looking for that win.
Oh my goodness, to get to victory lane would be huge for Sheldon Creed. And we know that car with the big W on the hood, SVG, he's going to be aggressive. There'll be 3 laps of racing to go from the streets of Chicago through the restart zone and around turn 12. And another good restart for Love. As we see Hill falling back. SVG now fighting for that second spot on the outside as they go to 1.
Ty Gibbs' life just got very complicated. SVG makes short work of Ty Gibbs. SVG, oh, Sam Mayer's around. Everybody scatters as Sam Mayer gets turned. Exiting turn number 1. He will refire the car, but SVG has gotten a second, and he is looking for the lead.
They work down Lakeshore Drive. This is the right-hand bend that is known as turn 3, and here they come down into the turn 4 and 5 complex. Van Gisbergen looking outside, now trying to look inside. Love washes up just a little bit. SVG is there on the back bumper. Here's another bobble from Love as they race off 5.
Here they come out of 5 onto Columbus Drive. Jesse Love in the 2. You're on board with Shane Van Gisbergen. He's going to fade right, and he's going to drive it in way deep, side by side for the lead into 6. Love will hang on to the spot. He had preferred positioning, but here's SVG again on the march.
Big block right here by Jesse Love. Not going to be enough. SVG to the inside. Ty Gibbs trying to follow. Jesse Love was very defensive, but it's just too much pace to keep him back. Now Ty Gibbs, can he chase down SVG?
Shane Van Gisbergen now is setting the pace. It'll be 2 laps to go as we see a very congested turn 12 happening here. Look at him fighting for positions as Parker Kligerman under attack from Larson. 3 car lengths separate the top 2 now as Van Gisbergen trying to put Gibbs a couple more car lengths back.
Here's Kyle Larson. He has gotten away now, and he'll grab the 5th position from Parker Kligerman as Jesse Love is dropped anchor. There's Austin Hill in the 21. He's running in the 7th spot. But now that Shane Van Gisbergen has gotten the lead, Ty Gibbs' life has gotten incredibly challenging, just trying to keep pace with him and get back to his back bumper.
And it looked like Sheldon Creed got spun or shuffled out of the mix somehow there on the back half of the course, so he is not a factor now. But this race for 3rd is a good one. Here's Larson trying to track down down the top two. He's got to get by Love first, and he does on the right-hander into turn number 4. Larson to third. Does he have enough time to get to the top two?
Off turn number 5, Larson now will break away from this pack. He's just completed the pass, but he's got 3 seconds to make up. Battle for 4th. Kligerman inside, Love outside, and here they come into the corner. Connor Mosak looking on. Kligerman will make the clean pass out of 6.
Jesse Love just a few laps ago had the lead and control of this race, and now he's fallen back to 5th. Have to keep up the fight here, still racing for points. A lot of good race cars behind him. He's going to be disappointed, but you have to stay on offense here. Good strategy by his crew chief in getting track position. Just get the best finish you can.
And take a look at what happened with Sheldon Creed, because he was running up inside the top 5. And then through turn 12, right before turn 12, he gets turned around. Now, 1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank, and pulling away is Shane Van Gisbergen.
He is pulled away by a second plus, 1.2 seconds over Ty Gibbs. They just cleared 1. Here comes the right-hander. That's turn 2. Back onto Lakeshore Drive is Shane Van Gisbergen.
The best car today has found his way back to the front when it counts, but it's not over yet. Tough section of racetrack here. He'll go through turn number 3. No pressure from behind. He continues to leg it out over Ty Gibbs and Kyle Larson in that second spot. SVG through 4, out of 5, and onto Columbus Drive for the last time.
Unless that car breaks, turn out the lights, the party's over. Shane Van Gisbergen is about to win his 3rd consecutive race here in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. For the final time, under braking into 6, he'll hang the left-hander onto the short straightaway, over the train tracks and down the hill into turn 7.
Everybody brought their best today to try to take it to Shane, but he is ready for the action. He likes the fight. He enjoys the aggressiveness. No one could get him to get out of who he is. No one was able to make him make the big enough mistake. This guy is a world-class racer, and he's making everybody in NASCAR better.
He was a favorite coming in, and it's very difficult to be able to perform with that much pressure. But I'm guessing that Auckland, New Zealand is his favorite city, but number 2 on the list has to be Chicago. Shane Van Gisbergen is going to do it again. He wins in Chicago.
Great job, everyone. That is awesome. Oh, man, thank you, guys.
Seen the drift out of Shane Van Gisbergen when he goes around a road course, and you look at the company that he joins here with Terry Labonte, AJ Allmendinger. 3 straight road course wins for Van Gisbergen.
Speed is one thing, but execution top to bottom is another.
We'll do it again tomorrow.
Hey, you heard him, do it again tomorrow. I think that's what's so impressive. You mentioned coming in as the favorite and the pressure. He was off the radar a year ago. He's not off the radar now. Everyone knows who he is. Everyone knows the level of talent he has.
From Auckland, New Zealand, one thing that we have learned about Shane Van Gisbergen, he's a big fan of rugby. And so his new celebration is once he stops on the start-finish line, he will grab a rugby ball, he will autograph it, and he'll kick it into the grandstands.
I've never tried, but he makes it look way easier than I'm betting it is.
Making his way through turn 9, waving to the fans there in East Congress Plaza. And finishing up his victory lap. Well, they got a football for him.
I was going to say now, hold on.
Look at this. It's a football.
Maybe Soldier Field, Chicago. They had to go with the original look.
I like it. What a show SVG and Kyle Larson put on today. Larson making it all the way back up to 3rd. Ty Gibbs, an impressive performance, finishing in 2nd. ticket that you get for this is called excessive show of speed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I think the fans appreciate it on the streets here of Chicago. And there's been 2 burnouts done right there on Columbus, and they've both been done by this man right here. Shane Van Gisbergen will climb out of the car. His crew is there to greet him.
Shane Van Gisbergen, your winner of the NASCAR Xfinity Series in Denver.
Awesome drive, man. Oh, I'm so proud of you.
I got you, okay? Good job. Yeah, good job.
Third win of the year.
There's a lot of things involved in the Shane Van Gisbergen victory celebration. We've seen it build throughout this year. 2 wins already. He's got rugby balls to worry about. He now may have a football to worry about. First of all, worry about the guys that got him there, including Justin Marks from Trackhouse Racing. And as is his custom, around to everyone, because they all had a big part in what happened here this afternoon. Watching him behind the wheel was spectacular. You rode with him. We had the camera on board. We could see probably everything but the footwork, which was still a closely guarded secret. And Matt Colleague congratulating his driver. And here, everybody's here. And yeah, why not? Let's continue. Shane, sign it, and then I just need to know which direction you're going to kick. You want to do the sweets, or are you going to get these folks out here? Here he goes. Nice. I think the front straightaway makes a pretty good pitch, don't you?
Oh, that's awesome. What a great race. It was pretty wild there at the end, and I can't thank all the racing guys enough. Our WeatherTech tomorrow was amazing, and a great race at the start with Kyle. He was really good on the restarts, and we made our car better for the second set of tires, but whew, that was fun at the end, passing all those guys. Had some great racing with everyone.
Let's start with the Kyle Larson and you battle. That looked fun to us. What was that like behind the wheel?
It was cool. We were waving at each other, thumbs up, and really respectful, but big moves. He was amazing under brakes and on the bumps, so really cool. Learned a lot. He probably learned a lot off me, but yeah, hope to race him again for the win tomorrow.
All right, do you officially own this town now?
No, of course not, but it's a privilege to race here. This event is amazing, what NASCAR has done, so yeah, what NASCAR's done here, it's what a show, so pretty cool feelings. Hopefully we can repeat tomorrow.
Congratulations. Very humble. He is super fun to watch. What a privilege to be here, Rick.
Good job.
His dad and his sister are also here in Chicago to watch his performance. And what a performance it was again. Shane Van Gisbergen, after starting up front, he and Kyle Larson putting on a great battle through stage 1, and then fighting his way back through the field, avoiding all of the carnage that took place here in the streets, and then showing why he is one of the best street course racers in the world. He gets to victory lane one more time, Shane Van Gisbergen, and sends the rugby ball into the crowd. We'll have Peacock Pit Box on the other side of the break.
And every lock that ain't locked for no one's
Hello and welcome.
Don't be mistaken, always put forth 110% in. Years of blood, sweat, tears I'm wetting. I try my best in everything I've done. Yeah, I'm in control of my heart and soul. So if you wanna go up to the top, you may only get one shot. And if there's no shot at the top, always give everything you've got.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.